And what is with these people staring at the camera? Hello? Can I help you? I mean, what is the purpose of this? Like, do they mean to post this or is this an accident? They're not even natural movements. None of this makes any sense. What is this behavior? I mean, they're zooming in on their eyeballs now. Then she writes, face with no filter. This is like me posting a photo of a bunless hamburger and writing hamburger with no bun. Who gives a shit? God, somebody do something. Okay, you know what? Never mind. Forget I asked. Damn it, please stop.
Those faces are as real as news is on CNN. Welcome back, extra beautiful, extra amazing human beings. This is Okadowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of absolutely disgusting crap, propaganda, disinformation out there to break down today. Specifically, the hot water that Dr. Fauci and U.S. President Joe Biden are in right now, as China Joe is trending right now on Twitter. All of this as violence is rising in cities all throughout the United States, while economic opportunities keep declining. But before we're going to get into all of that, plus a lot more, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is, of course, by Joey B. Tunes. You can see the full video by clicking the link in our description down below. Hopefully, after watching this video, he does great work, and he definitely deserves a lot more subscribers than he has right now. And his commentary on society becoming more fake, in my opinion, is a perfect representation of the fakeness of our entire system and establishment. Now, you might not know this, but yesterday one of America's cities spiraled into chaos as businesses were destroyed, dumpsters lit on fire, and clashes unfolded between the Portland Police Department and BLM protesters. A story that, of course, is wildly underreported, probably because the protesters align with the current political establishment. There's even video showing police officers fleeing the area away from protesters, and that's not the only place in America that the police officers have been running away from, especially when they see crime, as we are finding out that in San Francisco, one of America's largest cities, many businesses are going out of business and are having to shut their doors because of shoplifting that police officers refuse to enforce. Yes, after, quote, police reform in San Francisco, this has led to a huge surge of crime that is utterly destroying the possibilities of businesses even operating in one of America's largest cities. Now, whether police officers have their hands tied or are deciding not to do their job, we also have to acknowledge that this is happening more and more all throughout the United States at the same time that the Biden administration is trying to appoint a man to the ATF that wants to disarm you and take away your ability to defend yourself. Specifically, just admitting that he supports the banning of, quote, AR-15s, as of course we get horrific stories like this of a deranged, crazy 18-year-old who had the police called on him many times, months in advance, for breaking into cars, menacing behavior, harassing and intimidating people in his neighborhood, which police officers ignored until this 18-year-old kidnapped a 4-year-old child and ended his existence. And as police officers are becoming more pointless and useless all throughout the United States, even in places like New York City, the city's transportation authority is looking to hire private security guards to the tune of $2.2 million a month because of the huge uptick of violence in major Democratic stronghold cities where a lot of violent criminals are released on the streets from jails. As those same Democratic politicians now wonder, why has there been such a huge spike in robberies and violent crime. All of this as there is less and less economic opportunity. This, of course, signals that there will be more poverty, more crime, which it seems like many governments are calling for and incentivizing with their policies, while at the same time trying to disarm you and to make sure that you have no way of being able to protect yourself or your families. What's happening now is especially cruel when you look at the larger financial ramifications that are going to be coming because of the lockdown and because of the relentless money printing that is devaluing the money that people are working to make. That also the government claims a portion of at the same time when they are devaluing it by destroying the purchasing power of the dollar. And you could see throughout history the significance of this, and its effects are very clear, as of course the prices of commodities are skyrocketing, as now 23 states have decided to reject federal handouts for unemployment benefits because businesses are finding it impossible to fill jobs. In states like Massachusetts, you get $855 for weekly unemployment benefits, and this is just one factor out of many factors to why there is such a larger economic disparity happening right now that's highlighting how utterly ridiculous and nonsensical this entire financial system is. A lot of people can't afford homes. Of course, this is going to be exemplified with higher rents going up soon as well, which will increase poverty, increase homelessness, increase crime, increase the number of victims out there, and boom, the government has more of an excuse to get involved in your life. And as we stay divided and conquered, and unaware of the larger game being played against us, Americans are becoming more violent, fighting their neighbors more often, and becoming more unhealthy with brain-altering, GMO, trash, sugar-filled chemicals being fed to our children that is utterly destroying our physical health, while social media destroys our mental health. And then all of those people responsible for the destruction of your physical, spiritual, and mental health, those are the ones now cheering and telling you how they really care about your health, which is an absolute cruel joke, which we're going to be talking about extensively here on LukeUncensored.com. We can't talk about it here on this platform. The CDC just made a very shocking admission surrounding a medical procedure that we can't talk about here on this platform. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. LukeUncensored.com. Yesterday, if you were able to sign up on our email list, you got an email with a free, exclusive Luke Uncensored video, which only was available to the people who signed up on our email list. It is totally free. It is very easy to sign up. You can just sign up by going into the top right-hand corner of wearechange.org or by clicking the link in the description below, signing up, and sporadically, once every so often, I will be sending a free Luke Uncensored video only exclusively to all the people that are signed up on our email list. So if you're not signed up, this is the perfect time to sign up. We're going to have a lot more coming to everyone who joined our specific own little secret society that we have brewing on LukeUncensored.com. Now, in our mainline society, if you ever want to find out the truth about a particular subject, you sure as hell have to dig through a lot of dumbassness and idiocy as perfectly represented by, of course, the latest news surrounding the lab leak theory, which we've been talking about as an independent news organization for over a year now, and now finally, the reporting that we covered is being acknowledged by the mainstream media that previously decried it, attacked it, and tried to silence it as best as they could, who espoused their opinions that it was virtually impossible that this would happen, and now are saying that it's absolutely credible that it happened, as even a former New York Times science editor came out and said that the mainstream media, the press, was, quote, complicit in amplifying a sustained Chinese propaganda effort, and it definitely feels like it, especially with the communist Chinese government talking points being ushered by U.S. politicians and mainstream media figures that supposedly represent the United States, but surely do a lot of bidding for the communist Chinese state. This is perfectly also represented by the latest news from the Biden administration that we're finding out shut down any larger efforts, specifically by the State Department, to look into, to investigate if last year's sickness did actually come from a lab leak. The Biden administration made sure that such questions, such inquiries, and an investigation about something so critically important would not happen. This is, of course, after there was a lot of fears of the Biden administration being compromised by the communist Chinese state after, of course, his son, Hunter Biden, had many business dealings with the Chinese that benefited him greatly, all of which the mainstream media downplayed and censored, along with the big tech social media giants that made sure the story and evidence of this, which was contained on Hunter Biden's laptop, wouldn't get out there to the general public before the presidential election last year. Russell Brand even specifically did a detailed video about this subject with Glenn Greenwald, which I definitely recommend you should watch. I will link that also down in the description below, because as Russell Brand puts it, and I believe absolutely correctly, it was the mainstream media and Silicon Valley that hid the troubling information surrounding Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and their larger connections to China. What influence do the Chinese have on Joe Biden? Well, there's definitely something there, since this latest move definitely isn't working in the best interest of the American people. It is working on the best interest of the Chinese that also are continuing to purchase US dollars. Of course, the lab origin story also highlights a very negative portrait of Dr. Fauci, America's doctor that's loved by the mainstream media, as of course Dr. Fauci lied to Congress about his financing of this level 3 Wuhan laboratory that all of this is surrounding. If you lie to Congress and you're a Republican like Roger Stone, well, you're going to be raided by the FBI in the middle of the morning. If you lied to Congress and you're Dr. Fauci, what's going to happen to you? Well, as of right now, nothing. There are some Republicans calling for Dr. Fauci to be fired or to resign after, of course, yet another major flip-flop and U-turn, as he is now admitting that there was U.S. taxpayer money that he allocated to the level 3 Wuhan laboratory, which now he is defending. Yes, it's absurd to think so, but Dr. Fauci is now defending doing very dangerous studies that many medical professionals say are absolutely useless and pointless and have no larger scientific benefit, specifically surrounding horseshoe bats and this particular sickness, testing how it could be transmitted to human beings. This is, of course, the exact signature of the sickness going around here, and Dr. Fauci is somehow defending this particular study that ended right before the same kind of exact sickness got out there to the rest of the world. And for this to be a coincidence, I mean, there's just too many things that lined up here, along with all the evidence that we've seen, that we've acknowledged, that we recorded, that point a picture, that seriously implicate not just Joe Biden, but of course Dr. Fauci, that of course change everything. And this is why, according to my own personal opinion, why China Joe is acting not on behest of the American people. He's even contradicting his own Pentagon, a Pentagon that just came out and said that, quote, China is a top-pacing threat, not only on Earth, but also in space, as of course the larger Thucydides trap builds against this new emerging world power versus the current world power, which is the United States. Now, the U.S. Senate just passed an amendment that permanently banned funding any gain-of-function research in China, and rightfully so. Why should American tax-paying dollars go to research allowing China to develop what a lot of people here are calling bioweapons? But there's still a lot to do. There's still so much to uncover against the obvious wrongdoing against the American public here. I think it's pretty clear that Biden is not acting on behalf of the American people. He recognizes this. He faces a lot of scrutiny because of this. And in the making of this video, he just announced that there will be, quote, a closer review of this lab origin story, but it will only be conducted through U.S. intelligence agencies, which, as we know, have been working in tandem with the Biden administration and are known for their secrecy. Now, will there be any transparency? Will there be any accountability? Will there be any public reporting of the findings of these intelligence agencies? Well, personally, I don't think that this will happen. The intelligence agencies are known liars to the American people, and whether it's Yellow Cake or WMDs or fighting for freedom in Libya, we have to understand that the probability of us getting the truth from the U.S. intelligence agency here on these important matters is absolutely very rare and unlikely to happen. The lessons that we should learn here is that we should never trust the U.S. mainstream media, the U.S. political establishment, and of course individuals like Dr. Fauci that say one thing one day and a completely different fabricated story the next day. It's absolutely ridiculous what's happening here. Criminals are acting like saviors, as of course we're set to have more criminals in the United States, while law-abiding innocent human beings are left on their own, being absolutely screwed over. So yeah, that's happening right now. What's the best way to fight it? Let me know down in the comment section below what you think your personal approach to our current state of affairs is. I usually like to discuss solutions and personal things and ways to be happy and healthier, specifically on LukeUncensored.com. I can't talk about a lot of the medical stuff here. There's a lot of censors. This is not a free speech platform. This is a platform to talk about some truths in even more of a generalized way than I would even naturally tell them. But this is still an effective way to reach out to the general public, the Kyles, the Karens out there, and to inform them of the realities of the world that is usually kept away from them by the mainstream media. And if you agree with that, if you thought I did that in any way, shape, or form, share this video with your friends and family members. It's more critically important than ever, especially with the algorithms downranking, making sure less and less people see these types of videos, and they're only seeing them because of you and your support, which I wouldn't be here without. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.